Here in Dubai, you can purchase a property using cash, a mortgage, and even cryptocurrency. Dubai is one of the only cities in the world where cryptocurrency meets real estate, where it's fully regulated, fully legal, and it is backed by the Dubai Land Department. Dubai has put the legal framework in place to make sure this is a safe, fast, and 100% compliant with the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. With Dubai being one of the few cities that will allow cryptocurrency for real estate transactions, let's look at why they do this and also how the process works. So first of all, real estate is going to be a sought after asset for cryptocurrency investors. The reason being is it will differ from their cryptocurrency assets. So you will get returns from the real estate, whether that's rental yields or capital appreciation when you do sell it on. It's also a much more stable and tangible asset, meaning that they've got a diversified portfolio. So with this in mind, Dubai's regulations and the 0% capital gains tax has made it a lot more attractive for crypto investors to come here in Dubai. You may hear of various different ways that people have purchased real estate through cryptocurrency here in Dubai. However, the regulated way to do this is through escrow companies. So the Dubai Land Department has legalized purchases for Dubai real estate through registered escrow companies. So an escrow company will act as a neutral third party in the transaction that will essentially hold the funds or the asset. In this instance, for example, the buyer would be giving the escrow company a cryptocurrency for the property they intend to purchase, and then this would further later on down the line be given to the seller. While the whole transaction has been going on, the escrow company of course will be holding the asset or the funds themselves. This keeps both the buyer and seller safe throughout this transaction, ensures the funds will be delivered on time, means that nobody's going to get cheated out of this transaction, which of course is always the risk when you're dealing with cryptocurrency. So to give you a rundown of how this will actually work start to finish if you are buying a property, what will happen is you will deal with a registered broker like myself that will show you around properties or potentially even show you off-plan properties that you may be interested in. Once we have picked out a project that you're after or a unit itself, then we will be in touch with either the developer or the seller themselves. So the escrow company will have a chat with the seller and the buyer prior to the contract or the MOU being signed to ensure that all parties know what's going to be happening and they're comfortable with it. The reason that this needs to be said is escrow companies aren't always involved in transactions in Dubai real estate, so it's important that the seller and the buyer both know exactly what's going to go on and how the transfer will actually take place once the contract F is signed. The contract itself will stand as normal and be exactly the same as if you were not using an escrow company. However, once the contract F or the MOU is signed, there will be an escrow agreement that needs to be signed by both parties, again to sign off that they will be using this service. Once the contract F and the agreement of the use of escrow is signed by both buyer and seller, the buyer will then transfer the funds through the wallet to the escrow company. They will be able to transfer not only the price of the property, but all the extra fees really that will be incurred. So your DLD fee, agency fee, trustee fee, all these will be sent to the escrow account and distributed accordingly. So whilst the transfer is being arranged of the property, the escrow will hold the funds and they won't be released until the new title deed has been transferred to the new owner and they have evidence of this. At that point, the seller will receive the funds in the currency that they would have discussed with the escrow company, and at that point you will have purchased the property through cryptocurrency using an escrow in Dubai, leaving yourself with a new property and the title deed and the seller with the funds for the property. Of course, this can still be a little bit daunting, especially if it's your first time doing the process, so definitely do your checks on the company that you will be using for the escrow service. Here at GenZone, we are partnered with one of the biggest escrow companies who have over 20 years experience here in Dubai. So if it is something that you're looking to use, feel free to reach out to us, not only for the transaction, the real estate, but also help with the escrow company itself. A couple of points to note here is that the escrow company, prior to receiving the funds, will need to undergo some checks in relation to this transaction. So keep in mind though that this will be the same process for any of the companies that are regulated here in Dubai, and it's the only legal way to use cryptocurrency for a real estate transaction. Lastly, in terms of costs for it, it can vary depending on exactly what format that you need to use. So if you are looking for some more information and thinking of buying a property here in Dubai using cryptocurrency, then book in a call with us below. Or if you're now looking for some videos for information on real estate itself here in Dubai, then click the link above.